Wow, sorry, it slipped out of my hand. So we've only covered the first 3 minutes of the film. This 13-year-old is still sleeping. Could you hand me that panel? We're still in his dream. Jiro sees a German airship looming over the clouds while he's on his plane, and he tries to attack it. He puts on a pair of goggles before he accelerates. But when he puts on the goggles, he suddenly goes blind. Something is wrong, and he's wondering, what is going on? Everything goes out of focus. And when he takes off his goggles, you see his glasses underneath. He wasn't wearing any glasses before, but these glasses suddenly appear. Like this. Jiro suddenly goes back to his younger self and realizes the bomb's falling from overhead, and then his plane plummets downwards. Jiro gets smaller and smaller as he falls downwards with his plane, and then he wakes up on his futon. This is, in fact, based on this. Winsor McKay's Little Nemo in Slumberland. This cartoon was serialized in an American newspaper. It always starts with Nemo's dream. There's an unexpected ending, and he eventually wakes up or falls out of his bed at the end. This is in fact like Miyazaki's final resolution. There's a line in this film, how would you spend the most creative decade of your life? When Miyazaki was in his 30s and 40s, which was the most creative period in his life, around the same age as Jiro when he was making his Zero fighter plane, he was trying to make an animation based on Little Nemo in Slumberland with Takahata in the US. But it didn't work out. All of Miyazaki's ideas were rejected, and Takahata was eventually fired. They were devastated when they came back to Japan, having lost all hope of ever making any animations again. They felt like they had wasted all their energy, skills, and passion for 2 years at the prime of their careers. So, a boy climbs up along the tiles of the roof and steps into his handmade plane, flies, confronts this gigantic metal airship, but ends up crashing. He has even forgotten that he normally wears glasses. He can't see anything, and so he crashes. That's when he wakes up. This is exactly the same structure as a Little Nemo episode. This was what Miyazaki wanted to make at the height of his career. That's why he included this sequence in the first scene of The Wind Rises. This is the culmination of his creative work. He knows that this is his last film, and he inserts this sequence from Little Nemo right at the opening and says, "See, this is what I always wanted to do, and I was right." That's where the story starts. I mean, I think he's a bit too tenacious. Jiro wakes up. He doesn't have his glasses on, so the ceiling is blurry. He can't see the light bulb or the mosquito net. He looks out on the yard, but he can't see the yard either. He takes his glasses that are lying on top of his clothes and puts them on. The lenses are really thick. It's then that he can finally see this beautiful yard. This view Jiro is looking at is what Miyazaki sees himself, because Miyazaki also wears thick glasses. Jiro blinks very slowly in this frame. He looks absolutely devastated. So this is the first wind that blows against him. In other words, his first adversity. He knows that he can never become a pilot. Girls will never look at him with that longing gaze. How we see people with glasses now and how people saw them back then is completely different. It was the age of militarism. Japan was imbued with militarism. So men with glasses were labeled as a failure. He goes to school after this scene, but nobody but him is wearing glasses. Also, the teacher Jiro likes is the only teacher wearing glasses. None of the other teachers are wearing glasses. So back then, a person wearing glasses was considered a loser. But nothing has really changed since then. Today, when Miyazaki talks about Takahata, he says, Takahata was very popular with the girls. Whereas Takahata says, Miyazaki was never popular. Look at him. He sounds so delighted when he says that. This is actually true. So Miyazaki understands Jiro's feelings. No matter how much he loves planes, he can never become a pilot. That's because he was born with poor eyesight. This makes him despair. That's what we see in this frame. Like I said, it's the age of militarism. Boys wearing glasses were generally labeled as failures by adults and also by girls. Girls were not interested in boys who didn't qualify to become a soldier. There's a scene where Jiro passes pretty girls, but they don't so much as glance at him. Jiro Horikoshi's first setback: I have poor eyesight. After this, he goes to school. He shakes off his negative thoughts and goes to school. You see here